All right, ladies and gents, welcome to my channel. Welcome back. I obviously haven't uploaded anything in a while, and to save everyone a detailed explanation as to why, I'll just say life's interesting, right? I moved away from the trailer park, and that's been a sigh of relief for myself and for the rest of my household, which is, it is a blessing, right, to be away from such a chaotic environment. And I got a dog recently, and training's been rather interesting, actually, and it's part of what spurred me into wanting to upload this video in the first place. I was reflecting on a lot of the advice that I received when it came to puppy training. And one of those things that I learned, right, is that regardless of if I have something that the dog may want, right, treats or food or a toy or something, if there is something in the environment that dog finds to be more motivating, to be more interesting, its attention will go to that, right? And so it's up to me as the leader to learn to tip the scales in my favor to basically make myself more interesting, right? Now, I was reflecting on that for a while today, and I just kind of realized that what this dog trainer is saying, what he's describing in this dog, is the exact same thing as what medical professionals tend to call ADHD, right? This environmental factor, or this thing that they find more interesting, gets the focus, which makes it seem like they just don't want to listen to me or anything. And it's not necessarily that they don't want to listen, it's that, oh, hey, there's something different in the environment that I find to be more interesting. All right, so how that correlates to ADHD, as somebody who was diagnosed with ADHD and was put on medication and was on medication for many years, it's essentially the same thing, where, like, say a child in a learning environment is having a hard time focusing, but, like, from my perspective, the reason why I had a hard time focusing was either I was stressed out at home, or I wanted to do something different, right? Like, everything else about life seemed more interesting to me than when it came time for school. Now, of course, my dad being a military father, or military officer, and, being that military child, there was a little bit different structure and discipline on how he handled those things, and they don't necessarily work in my house, right? You'd think that they would, but dogs don't respond the same way to how I responded, and even still, I didn't respond that well to the way that my dad disciplined anyways. But point being is, the only time that I ever truly paid attention in school was when the teachers made learning fun, right? And it's the same kind of thing with the puppies, right? And that is, when you become a bigger motivating factor to them than their environmental factors away from you, right? Whether it's food, treats, toys, other dogs, other people, whatever the case may be, when I, as the individual, become more motivating to the dog will focus on me and will want to listen, because they start associating me with basically good vibes. And the same thing applies to school, right? Like, when teachers made learning fun, I paid more attention. When they were just some show up and shut up, do the work kind of teacher, I never paid attention. I screwed off in class. I slept through class. I was doing drugs through class back in high school, And so, the point being is, this whole diagnosis of ADHD and how it's being called a disorder, some sort of disease, some sort of some sort of something that the medical industry can place a label on and label it as something distinct and needing correction via pharmaceuticals or some other form of therapy, like, they're kind of doing everyone a disservice by doing so, including themselves, because then it creates a sense of distrust between the people and their medical professionals, right? Obviously, I've expressed some distrust towards the medical profession. Now, the remedy is you gotta make it fun. You gotta make yourself to be more motivating than the external circumstances. So rather than label it as some disorder that needs medicated, you can work hard and actually motivate the individual, whether it's a dog or a person, through a method that is oriented towards their preferences in life. Some dogs prefer toys. Some dogs prefer, direct interaction and playing with them, And it's the same thing with people. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of education that would need... How do I explain that? It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of solution where the same thing that worked for one pup or one person will work for the next. Everyone's a little bit different. But this idea that it's anything other than the fault of the teacher is in itself a fallacy, right? If a teacher is unable to provide an environment where that student can learn and is excited to learn, that's not the student's fault, right? Of course, the student is going to have their own individual preferences and likes and dislikes. But if you can find a way to reach a student and make learning fun, they're more likely to pay attention. If you can teach a dog to find the learning fun and engaging, your chances of success go up. But it's not a disease. It's not like, my dog has ADHD just because he doesn't want to listen, right? That's not the case. The case is myself as an individual would need to step up and do things a little bit differently. If I don't listen to that, I get the same results, right? But ADHD isn't some fucking disorder that needs medicated or anything like that, right? If you're a parent and you've got a kid that was diagnosed with ADHD, you're not doing them any good by telling them that they have some sort of disease or disorder that they just need to, take a pill for and things will be all right. That doesn't address the causal problem, right? It doesn't address the root cause, and it only focuses on the symptom level, focuses on the level of effects rather than the level of cause. And so, what would be the cause? Well, whatever is going on inside the person or dog's head in the moment that the teacher is trying to get them to focus is more motivating to them than whatever it is you're trying to get them to see. And so your responsibility as the parent or teacher, guardian, guide, whatever, is to shift that balance. Not to label them as defective and try and medicate them, right? Or at least I'd hope that you understand that point. But my point is it's been a while since I've uploaded. I've been meaning to upload some content, and I plan on doing some more content in the future, a little more spread out, because let's face it, I'm busy trying to make ends meet myself, right? Everyone seems to be busy, right? And obviously, I don't want to completely reject or go in the opposite direction of where I've been and what I've been doing as far as YouTube goes. But what I'd like to do is invest more time and attention into self-improvement, improvement of my household, improvement of my community. That's been one of my bigger focuses, is how I can reach people directly in my community especially like in my neighborhood, right? Talking with my neighbors. Obviously, I can still upload content, not making excuses. But what I'd like to do moving forward, maybe once or twice a week, upload something and see how that's going. But the point being, ADHD, ADD, rather than looking at a lot of these disorders as disorders, look at them as something like in this instance where all it would take is understanding the way that the mind works a little bit better, so that way you can shift focus. Because once you can shift the focus, that becomes a different playing field. I hope this is making sense to you guys. It's been a while, and I mean, I'd like to hear what you guys think about this, about other content you'd like me to upload or talk about, touch on. Obviously, in case there's a new person in here that doesn't understand what I'm about, I still plan on uploading topics from religion to linguistics to psychology to symbolism, right? Comparative religion and whatnot. But just not as frequently, right? There are things that I need to focus on in my life, right? Make sure that I'm leading by example, make sure that I'm setting the right example for my household, for a neighborhood, where I'd like to see us all go. With that being said, I hope you guys got something out of this. If you did, great. If you didn't, great. Keep coming back. It's good to be back, right? But I just hope everyone's doing all right with the unsteady nature of the world at the current moment, and with there being a certain level of uncertainty as to where things are going to go. I'd like to thank those who tune in, and just a kind reminder that God's greatest gift is the present moment, so whether you want to enjoy that gift or spit on it is up to you. I prefer to stay present and grounded and be not only in a state of joy where I am joyful inside, but also through that principle of correspondence, that joy radiates outward to the community, right? Joy and intelligence are a blessing upon humanity when used for greater purposes, I guess. But anyways, enough of that. Later.